Night Dreams Talk Radio Network brings you the World Paranormal News with James Creechbaum. Now, the latest news.
This is James Creechbaum with some more paranormal and Earth news. The locals discovered a jade stone showing alien contact in a cave in Mexico. In a forest in Veracruz, a cave full of jade stones have been discovered. Aside from the precious stones, the cave also features some incredible carvings. The carvings are very complex and they depict some kind of gray aliens with slim bodies, big heads, and large eyes. This amazing discovery was made public by journalist Javier Lopez Diaz, and it was posted on his account throughout Facebook and Twitter and all kind of different things. It immediately became viral. Javier is convinced that these carvings depict real contact between an ancient civilization and extraterrestrials. These space entities helped in the creation of the Aztec and the Mayan civilization. According to experts, the carvings on the jade stones is completely authentic. They also found different paintings depicting similar scenes of contact between aliens and humans. At the same time, there are representations of alien spaceships. Once researchers managed to decipher the jade stones, they got the amazing title of Stones of the First Encounter. Also in the news, Project Blue Book documents are to go on display. Actual files from the U.S. government's Project Blue Book are set to go on display in Washington, D.C. next month. The secretive project, which was carried out by the U.S. Air Force between 1952 and 1969, was an in-depth study of unidentified flying objects, the largest of its kind ever undertaken. It had two main goals: to determine if UFOs were a threat and to scientifically analyze the data. By the time the project had ended, it had a collection of an archive of some 12,618 UFO reports. While most of these were deemed to have conventional explanations, a small percentage of the sightings remained unexplained, even after being subjected to stringent analysis. Officially, it was concluded that none of the UFO sightings investigated by the Air Force posed a risk to the United States, and nor did they represent evidence of alien visitors or advanced technology. Despite this, however, some conspiracy theorists believe that the project did reveal signs that we were not alone, and that real conclusions have been kept hidden as part of a government cover-up. Whatever the case may be, you will soon have the chance to check out some of the Project Blue Book's documents in person when they go on the display at the National Archive Museum in Washington. The exhibit will be available to view at the East Rotunda Gallery from December 5th, 2019 to January 8th, 2020. Also in the news, an ancient tree contains records of Earth's magnetic field reversal in its rings. Construction workers have accidentally dug up a 40,000-year-old tree that will give scientists insight into what will happen when Earth's magnetic poles flip, which they are already starting to do. Every 200,000 to 300,000 years, Earth's magnetic north and south poles swap places, an event that opens the planet up to solar radiation and coincides with major extinction events. We're long overdue for such an adventure, with the last pole reversal occurring 780,000 years ago. Earlier this year, NASA warned that the magnetic North Pole is racing 30 miles per year toward Russia, signaling the beginning of a total pole reversal. The discovery of the tree that lived for 1,500 years during the exact same period of a near reversal of the poles 42,000 years ago will now give climatologists new insight into what exactly that will look like. The ancient tree was found buried under 26 feet of soil by construction workers who were expanding the geothermal energy plant in New Zealand. The swamp curry tree was preserved as if it were in a swamp, even though it wasn't. It's one of the oldest trees ever found, 65 feet long and 8 feet wide. The radioactive carbon in the tree's rings provides a complete record of the near reversal of the Earth's magnetic fields that happen within the tree's lifetime. Earth's magnetic field is thought to be generated by the iron in the planet's core. As it moves around, it produces electronic currents that extend far into space. The magnetic field acts as a barrier protecting Earth from the solar wind. When the magnetic field reverses or attempts to, it gets weaker, leading to more radiation from the sun getting through. There's nothing like this anywhere in the world, said one scientist. We will map these changes much more accurately using the tree rings. While it can take several thousand years for the poles to completely flip, their journey to the other side can cause chaos in the meantime as the lines of magnetic field cross and get jumped. Next news break, top of the hour.
Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark, wants to give a big shout out to all the truckers that listen to our show.
And again, without you truckers, we would not be where we're at. Hey, Calvin Parker, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. I'm sitting here enjoying this beautiful weather we have in here.
What type of weather are you having? And you're going to rub it into me, aren't you?
Yeah, it's 74 degrees here right now.
I tell you what, I got all the electric heaters on, extra space heaters, and I'm still chilly. My studio, which normally is extremely overheated, I'm sitting here with a space heater about 3 feet from me. So during the breaks, I turn it on to warm up. That's how cold it is here down at the compound, down at the harbor. Hey, I got to say something to you. Terry Lovelace said hi to you and that he enjoyed the conversations he had with you.
Oh, we had some good conversations. Now, first time I met him was at a UFO Congress in Arizona, and we had a blast there. I wish everybody could have been at that one.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure you heard his story. I tell you, he's been on my show 3 times. And I tell you what, after he's been off each time, it was really hard to sleep because of what he went through. And again, he kind of has the feeling like you have that they're not here to, serve man unless they're going to be on a plate.
I don't believe they are. I mean, they could be, but they kind of like a bunch of politicians. They're going to throw everybody under the bus they can.
Oh, yeah. Now, because we got more listeners than the last time you were on. We're on more stations since the last time you were on. What happened? Let's start off at the beginning. You just started a new job. You're one of your acquaintances talked to you in to go fishing. And let's start from there. And we're going to start from the beginning. And I got a whole bunch of new questions to ask you. And whatever you can also, get into, hey, why not? Let's just lay it all out the best we can.
There you go. My very first day on the job, this was, of course, October 11th, 1973. And I came to the Gulf Coast to work at a shipyard, F.B. Walker & Son Shipyard. My very first day on the job, the guy I was working for said, let's go fishing. I said, well, let's do it. We love to fish down here, so let's go. I said, but I got a problem. I didn't bring my fishing equipment with me. He said, well, let's run by the house, and I got some I'll loan you. Now, for a man from the South to tell you that, that's pretty serious. He might give you one of his kids or his firstborn or something, but never his fishing equipment. So we picked it up. We drove to a place on the Pascagoula River, and it's the Shaw Peters Shipyard, and it was no abandoned shipyard, and it had been neglected. It's been let kind of grow up and all, and there was a lot of trash and debris on it. And I remember asking him, look, why is all this trash and all out here? He said, well, when the water comes in, it brings in the trash, and when it leaves, it just leaves it. But the first thing that I noticed was a no trespassing sign. When we first walked in, I said, look, Charlie, look, we can't trespass here. They got a no trespassing sign. We'll both go to jail. Oh, no, I fish here all the time. said, okay. So we got our equipment and we walked down to an old pier, an old raggedy pier they had sitting up there, and pulled us up a log and was sitting on it. And I remember looking across the river, and there was a NOAA ship or a Coast Guard ship or something. And I was thinking to myself, how does something out of metal float? And about that time, I noticed some blue hazy lights coming from behind me and reflecting out across the water. And that's the color of the police department's lights here in Mississippi. And I was thinking to myself, well, we're fixing to go to jail for trespassing. But I turned around, and as I got turned around, Charlie had stood up, and he had turned around and was looking. And a real bright beam, I mean one of the brightest lights that I've ever seen up until this time, was shining on us, just come out and covered us. Well, you know, it made it kind of hard to see. But by the time we got our vision, where we got kind of opened our eyes where we could see, there was three bulky looking, looked like Green Bay Packers creatures coming out after us. And they didn't have a neck or nothing. It looked like their head just set down on their shoulders. And these things just more or less in a hurry. What they was in was about 100 yards from behind us, and they just cruised right on over to where we were real quick. Well, two of them got a hold of Charlie. One of them got a hold of myself. And that's where I felt an injection going in, because I was thinking about doing a little bit of running about this time, but it was just really nowhere to run. I mean, it was water in the front, water on the left, water on the right, and debris in the water. And we didn't really have time to make an escape plan. So when this thing grabbed me by the arm, they injected us with something. One of them shots that you don't really care, I don't guess, because I didn't care then. And they levitated us up off the ground, and they took me in toward the craft. And as we was going to the craft, I remember getting to the door, and I was looking inside to see where all these bright lights was coming from. But it wasn't any bright light fixtures. It wasn't any kind of light fixtures to be showing these lights. These lights was illuminating kind of out of the wall, out of the paint and all. And that's the first thing that I noticed going on the ship. Now, take it for granted I couldn't move my body anyway, but I could turn my head and look.